I'd like to ask you, David Sillaman, what is the biggest risk?
I see. Okay, the absolute biggest risk to the whole program is going to be fraud. All right. Fraud because these are private by design to be between you and me as individual investors into a development. All right. They're long-term in nature, which means that we're not thinking about it every single solitary day as an investor. We already know going into whatever we're putting our money into, long-term, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. Because of how every last one of these, and it's such a brand new market that, there's not a single opportunity fund has a major prior performance track record. So taking money in from an investor, promising them that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then closing up or never even filing the right way to begin with, causing detriment to the investor from a tax standpoint, thinking that here they're deferring and now they've been collecting interest on taxes that are due because the fund never did the right thing. And the people behind the fund made it look so great that they took the people's money and ran. And when we look back at the history of track record of government programs, I speak truth on this because I built and operated one of the most successful loan modification companies on the East Coast. It was called the Cornerstone Group, had 175 employees, 2 call centers. I built a multi-million-dollar business on the back of a government program once before. Fraud, the proverbial saying of a few bad apples will ruin the entire basket, was absolutely true in that program. We heard horror stories of people that gave money to companies out in California, told don't make your mortgage payments, and then ended up losing their houses, and the companies closed up shop. That program was very dramatically changed through legislation and strokes of pen from executives, i.e. at the White House. This program has an immense amount of propensity for overwhelming change in an amazing way, opportunistic way in America, an amazing way to make a lot of great money. What it lacks, because of how it's written, there is no set platform yet. There is no set directory yet. There is no set, hey, this is the proper process and what you need to be able to do when you build one of these things. And so that way, all the way down the supply chain, it's transparent and everybody can get into it and know that, okay, no matter what, that doesn't exist yet because this market is a brand new financial market that is penetrating both real estate and business. And within that, it has to grow. And it's like a baby right now that's teething. It has the ability to do amazing, and the legislative support behind it is bipartisan. But at the same time, the biggest concern would be fraud. The second biggest concern, I think, that would be to go along with fraud, and kind of briefly touched on it, I think it probably plays into that fraud the biggest way, is right now, as an opportunity fund being private, you've got SEC compliance, you've got, state compliance, blue sky laws, plus whatever your corporate entity, is both, registered and foreign, because most of the time you're going to have 2 entities at a corporate level. With these, a lot of this is still the compliance side, and that would be the second biggest risk. None of them are proven. I can't tell you as an investor, hey, listen, this fund has performed at a 10% interest, rate of return for the last 10 years. Not a one. I can tell you that, hey, my company has done, $50 million in development projects, and so you can trust us. But at the end of the day, as an investor, and that's the risk is at the moment, because there is no centralization on really, what it looks like, from that mass propensity of fraud. And then you couple that with no performance, they're ultra high risk investment vehicles with huge upside potential, but also really high risk upfront.